Good morning or afternoon or evening, whatever time it is you may tune into this. Welcome to the Tulsa World Scene video that currently is undergoing a rebranding. So we don't have a name for it yet because now we have three of us here taking part. My colleague, Jimmie Tramel, that longtime viewers will recognize, and our newest staff member, Grace Wood, is going to be taking part in these as well. So as I said last week to Grace, welcome to the Funhouse. Speaking of fun, Jimmie, you've got some movie stuff coming up for this Friday, I believe.
Yeah, Twister is a beloved movie in Oklahoma. It was filmed here. Waukita was just, there's a museum there for Twister. People identify Twister with Oklahoma. Now, 25 years later, we have another filmed in Oklahoma tornado movie. But just heads up, it's not Twister or a sequel or anything remotely like Twister. 13 minutes that was shot in central Oklahoma. Whereas Twister was more of cotton candy, I would say, a summer fun thrill ride. This movie really wants to give you something to chew on. And it's more of a people film than an action film.
Okay. Is it, I assume it was shot in Oklahoma. Are there a lot of Oklahoma talent that some people may recognize being in the film?
Actually, it's a big time cast as far as Anne Heche, Peter Fasinelli, Amy Smart, Trace Adkins, the country music artist. So there's a lot of people in here people are going to recognize from other things. And there's a lot of Oklahoma music that pops up in the film. They used Oklahoma music artists for the music. And I don't know so much about Oklahoma people appearing in the film, but if you go to the weather map when the tornado is coming in the film, you see a jillion Oklahoma towns. They make it clear we're in Oklahoma in this movie.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll look forward to that. Grace, I understand we have a house in Sand Springs that people need to know about.
Yeah, definitely. So there is a home on Main Street in Sand Springs that was built in 1940 that's getting a new, complete total remodel. It's owned by a woman named Melissa Manfield, and it's really interesting because Melissa is a Sand Springs native, and she basically grew up in the home. It belonged to a really close childhood friend of hers. She actually learned how to swim in the backyard pool, which they're also redoing. So the home just really means a lot to her. And it's also really cool because Sand Springs Main Street area is really up and coming, and they've done a lot to kind of renovate it and make a lot of improvements to the road and make it easier to access from the highway to create more traffic. And there's just all kinds of up and coming small businesses and restaurants and just lots of things popping up there. So yeah, there's lots going on in Sand Springs, and I think the remodel and renovation of this home is going to be a really cool thing. She said that they're really trying to kind of maintain the original charm and character of the home, but just kind of give it a 2021 facelift and make it livable for Melissa and her family. So it's a really cool thing that's happening.
Okay, all right. Well, I agree with you about Sand Springs. One of the runners, one of the contestants for our best restaurant of the year is in downtown Sand Springs, called Little Venice. And if you like authentic Italian food, that's the place to go. Well, speaking of food, the Broadway touring production of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory that was supposed to be here in 2020 but was postponed by the pandemic will finally come to the PAC Tuesday, November 2nd for an 8-performance run. And we'll have an interview with Cody Garcia, who plays, not Charlie, but plays Willy Wonka. And he tells a story of the very first time that he saw a stage version of the story and how it basically scarred him for life. But it should be entertaining. The musical has the songs that people remember from the Gene Wilder version from the 70s, as well as additional songs by the team that created the musical Hairspray. So it should be, it's obviously going to be a very candy colored evening. So look forward to that. I'm sure both of you have your own memories of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Grace, do you which version? What version do you remember?
I remember the older version. Well, I have seen both of them. I just remember really clearly like being struck by the image of the grandparents like all sleeping in the same bed together. I remember thinking that was really weird as a child. But yeah, I think the most recent version was really fun and entertaining too. All the music from that and just like the high level of production was like super entertaining to me when I was younger. So I think the musical is going to be amazing. I really hope to see it.
Okay.
I think a good rule is no matter what project you're talking about, always defer to Gene Wilder.
That's true. I remember an interview with him where he talked about. I did get a chance to interview him before he died. And we were talking about that, and he said that he nearly walked off the set because the director didn't want him to do the somersault that he does right at the beginning. And Gene Wilder threatened to walk off the set because he said that set the tone for the whole film. You couldn't trust him at all. And so, because that's something that kind of gets lost is really how dark Roald Dahl's vision is. And so I'm curious to see how they handle it in this one. What do you have coming up for Sunday, Jimmie?
Well, speaking of dark, there was one episode of Reservation Dogs that was a little on the dark side. In the native culture, there are tales of the Deer Lady. And the Deer Lady was hinted at in the first episode of Reservation Dogs, the Shot in Oklahoma series on FX on Hulu. And in episode 5, Come and Get Your Love, we finally see the Deer Lady. And I swear I jumped off my couch a little bit the first time I saw the Deer Lady's hooves in that episode. But, it's Halloween, so it seems fitting. I scheduled an interview with the Deer Lady, not the Deer Lady herself, the actress who played the Deer Lady, for a story this Sunday. I also talked to some tribal experts about the Deer Lady in native culture. And bonus, just for me, there was a Masters of Horror episode on Showtime in 2005, directed by John Landis, named The Deer Woman. So I watched that last night just to get the full scope of Deer Woman mythology, and we'll have that story Sunday.
All right, sounds intriguing. If something can make you jump off your couch, it's probably pretty startling. Grace, what have you got coming up for potentially for Sunday?
Yeah, so on Sunday, the band Laney are performing at the BOK Center. And it's a really cool thing because Laney are originally from Tulsa. Their lead singer, Paul Klein, went to Victory Christian and then later studied at ORU. So their Tulsa roots are really strong. Their previous album was kind of all about like their Oklahoma roots. They even had a song called Cowboy in LA, which kind of details the lead singer's experience of kind of feeling out of place, living in Los Angeles, and feeling like, a cowboy at heart, I guess. So they have a lot of really good music, and I think this show is going to mean a lot to them and also a lot to their kind of original fans who kind of got them off the ground in Tulsa. And so, yeah, the band has just really experienced massive success and really taken off in the past few years. So they started playing at like local venues, and now it's awesome that they're coming back and playing at the BOK, which is a really cool thing. So yeah, I'm excited to see the show, and I think it's going to be awesome.
Now, you say they perform Sunday?
Yes.
Halloween.
On Halloween. Okay, so and
like, awesome. What do I wear to this event?
I would suggest a Deer Woman costume.
That is
That's just me. All right. Well, I think that about wraps things up for what we have coming this weekend. Um, as far as food goes, I believe our next review is going to be of a new pizza place in South Tulsa called Zaza's. It's grew out of the person who owns it and runs it is a former cook at Andolini's, and the people behind Andolini's are co-owners of this, so they're backing her up. But it's nothing like Andolini's, other than the fact that it's pizza. So we'll probably have that for next week. So something to look forward to there. Well, I believe that that covers the waterfront that we cover. Thank you all for spending some time with us, and we will gladly see you later.
Behave.
Bye.
For more information, you can visit tulsaworld.com.